A lovely evening to you out there, everybody under the sound of my voice and watching us on this lovely Monday evening on the 13th day of October, the year of our Lord 2025. Welcome to the AFIA Sports Review Spot. And this is indeed a wonderful way to start a working week because we've had so much games and so many bits of sports news that's been making the rounds, and we as Nigerians have every right to be pleased and upbeat because there is more than a glimmer of hope regarding what most Nigerian sports fans want to see, and that is Nigeria go to the World Cup. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. We will get to that bridge when we cross it. And, or rather, we'll cross it. Let's just mix it up anyhow. You know what I mean? There's always a bridge, there's always a crossing. All right, welcome to the show, guys. I am CC Emetebe, also known as CC the Rabbi. And we're running this show, AFIA Sports Review Spot. The frequencies still remain the same on AFIA TV, channel 254 DSTV, channel 748 Free TV, and channel 17 Go TV. Welcome, guys. And I'm not doing this alone. I have, of course, a regular in the house, a very, very dynamic sports analyst herself. Yes, herself. I've given away the identity of the person here. None other than Queen Chioma Chikeze.
Yeah, nice to be here also to do this. I think this is my first time with the review show.
Yes,
with the
banter box. This is not the time to get all bloodied up.
Of course.
Let's just leave that. Let's be more civil right now in this matter. It's good. No, I'm a perfect gentleman, you know, and I understand how to create an atmosphere for civility.
Yeah.
until Thursday. Okay, guys. So welcome to the show. We will go straight to the headline news. There's been so much happening, but always, like we always say, charity begins at home, even though it doesn't end there. We'll go to the southeastern part. Basically, what happened in Owerri. Yes, you got that right. Owerri in the NPFL, the Nigerian Premier Football League. It was another Oriental Derby that took place, one of the standout fixtures for this past week, match week 8, where Enyimba, the 9-time champions of the NPFL, the Nigerian Premier Football League, lost, surprisingly, shockingly, they lost to Kun Khalifat 1-0 in the Oriental Derby away from home. They went there and then they lost. Although they were down to 10 men, still, you talk about the golfing class between the two sides. But like we always say, you throw form out of the window whenever derbies come to town. So that's exactly what happened there. So Kun Khalifat have picked up a very valuable scalp by beating the perennial champions, Enyimba, the People's Elephant of Aba. Then talking about beating and unbeaten runs, and of course Enyimba's run, their long run was unbeaten. They had been unbeaten for quite a while. But looking to another side, they have been unbeaten in 10 games, 10-match unbeaten streak for the Flamingoes. That is the Nigerian under-17 side, the women's under-17 side, the Super Flamingoes. Yes, I choose to call them Super because they've been doing very, very super things lately. So the Super Flamingos ended their 10-match unbeaten run or streak in a 4-3 defeat to their New Zealand counterparts. The Kiwis got and the edge over them there in that 7-goal thriller, beating them 4-3. But it was not to be something that you look at and say, hey, this is detrimental to their chances, because it was a warm-up game. It was a friendly ahead of the World Cup, that is the FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup, which will kick off in Morocco on the 19th of October. That's when it's going to kick off. So we're going to keep our fingers crossed and watch how that pans out. The girls will get themselves ready for the job, but they need to bounce back from losing ways to start winning things again. And talking about winning ways, you talk about the transfer market. There are many transfer rumors going on, not just at home but abroad. So we'll just look abroad a little bit and see that one of the transfer rumors making the rounds is the fact that Arsenal, now it's a rumor, it's a gossip, it's not been substantiated yet, but Arsenal Football Club allegedly want to offer the services of their embattled and injured striker, recuperating striker Gabriel Jesus, the Brazilian wing forward, plus about 50 to 60 million euros to Juventus, the old lady based in Turin in Italy. We want to offer this package for the services of the Turkish international Kenan Yildiz, the man who was born in Germany but opted to play for Turkey, who has been one of their most dynamic players, just 20 years of age, but the ceiling is very high and he's been a fantastic player indeed. So we want to see if that rumor is true, but for now it is just a rumor, and we will keep our fingers crossed and see how that pans out. So that's that for the news, and we're going straight to what's making the rounds. That is the NPFL. Starting with the NPFL, the Nigerian Premier Football League, match week 8 had many very tasty and tight fixtures. And we're going to read out some of the fixtures and results that came in. Some shockers to some, and then some not so pleasant games, then some to be expected. But we had the round of 8 fixtures there. Warri Wolves and Niger Tornadoes ended up having a 1-1 draw. They shared the points. Plateau United got the better of Barao FC by beating them 2-0. Abia Warriors, beat the Umahia base club, beat El Kanemi Warriors. So the Battle of the Warriors ended up having the Abia base side coming out as the winners. Then Wicked Tourists could only muster a 1-1 draw with Kwara United. And Ikorodu City Oga Boys beat Bendel Insurance, Benin Gunners by 1-0. Rangers International, we will get to that in a bit because it is a disappointing result, because everybody's been waiting for Rangers International to get a win on the road. But they ended up losing away to the league leaders, Nasarawa United, 2-1. Then we've mentioned Kun Khalifat beating Enyimba, 10-man Enyimba, 1-0. Then, of course, Katsina United shockingly and surprisingly beat the defending champions, Remo Stars, by 3-1. Then we had Kano Pillars in a very ill-tempered game. We will get to that in a bit. The very ill-tempered game at the same Misugida Stadium, that is the Sani Abacha Stadium in Kano, where Kano Pillars were hosting 3SC, Shooting Stars of Ibadan. Very ill-tempered game that had a lot of violence that ensued, where the fans of Kano Pillars ended up beating up the players of the opposing side and descending on the officiating, I almost said officiating ministers, but the officiating team. That's what happened there. It was terrible. And the Axe, of course, trust the NPFL board. They've acted swiftly under the leadership of Honorable Bengale Belei and the CEO, the COO, that's the Chief Operating Officer himself, Dave Snowumi. They have wielded the big stake and it has landed on Sei Mesugida and their fans. So we will get to that. Then this morning by 8 a.m. a game was played, a South-South derby, and that was between Rivers United and Bayelsa United. And shockingly, Bayelsa United away from home beat Rivers United in the Adokiye Amisimaka Stadium by 2-1. So this was very, very strange indeed. But there are 2 key fixtures we want to look at right now, Queen, and we'll need to understand what's the issue. Rangers International are 8th on the log right now. They didn't do themselves a lot of good by getting involved in this. They've scored 8 goals, so they've been scoring goals. 8 games, so 1 goal every game, which is not the best of returns, but at least they are scoring goals.
Yeah.
But they are also leaking goals. They've conceded 7 now because of the fact that they lost 2-1 to Nasarawa United. Nasarawa United are sitting pretty on top there. With those 2 goals that they scored, they are now the highest goal scorers in the NPFL with 9 goals scored. But Rangers losing to Nasarawa United, does it mean that Rangers, considering the fact that Rangers have only managed to get 1 point on the road, and that was away to Wicked Tourists in the north also, could it be that Rangers are still... I'm trying not to criticize the Flying Antelopes. They've really started well, tried to get themselves in the reckoning. This is a much better start than last season. Better start than last season. And Amobi Ezaku, Bryce Amobi Ezaku, the CEO and GM of Rangers International, we've talked with him several times. He's outlaid his plans for the team. And we know very well that Rangers are on the up. And under the leadership of the manager himself, Fidelis Lechuku. But could it be that Rangers are still trying to get over the fact that they are homesick? Because they seem to be homesick. They've not, for contrast, they've not conceded a single goal at home in home games. But away from home, they just can't stop conceding, even in games where they pick points, like the one they picked against Wicked Tourists. So what do you make of this? Should we press the panic button as far as away games go?
No, I don't think. Considering the fact that, like you said, we saw what happened with the Rangers last season after they won the league last 2 seasons. And then last season, it was quite an unpleasant performance. I don't want to use Shamboy, but it was quite unpleasant. And then coming into this season, we've also seen them, they've not really been that good, but they've not been the way they used to be, especially last season. So I'll put it down to you look at Rangers, they let go a lot of players that have been in the system for a while now and brought in new players. And that's what you get when you try to imbibe the team's philosophy, try to get the players to create the synergy within them and all of those. So that's what you get. You get some shaky performances here and there. I think that's what is currently affecting Rangers at this point. And the fact that the coach of the side is not also that very stable with the team. They are left in most of the times, especially during this period where we have a lot of continental assignments, or even the FIFA World Cup qualifiers and all, where the manager of the side has to leave the team in the hands of his assistants. And kudos to the assistant, AK Ekene Dinichuku. He's been quite fantastic with the team. They've gotten the result, especially at home and all. But it's different when you have the main man in charge. And I think also going away from home, we know how it is. Most times in NPFL, it's quite difficult to get results away from home, even though I will applaud some teams like the Kun Khalifat and some other teams that have gone away from home to pick up points. Some have gone away from home to pick up 3 points and all. We've seen some level of improvement in away results, but it hasn't reflected in the Rangers side, which I think with time, that will happen. I still think they're still trying to build. This is a team of very young and unknown players that were brought in into the team. So I think it will take time for them to come together, understand themselves, and then begin to show what they are made of. Maybe just time will tell. Maybe it's too early. It's just about 8 or 10 games. 8 games
It's
so far.
8 games.
8 games so far. So let's see how the season goes for Rangers.
But I like to come from an optimistic standpoint right now. Yes, it was a loss. We are very disappointed. Those of us who are based in Enyimba were very disappointed that Rangers lost that game. But no, I take solace from the fact that at least Rangers gave a good go. They scored first. It was Ibirim Wisdom. No, the defensive. He played in defensive midfield role in that game, and then he scored the opening goal. Of course, if Nasarawa United are going to score a goal, either an equalizer or a winning goal, you would expect. It's not a matter of if, but when. Anas Yusuf was on the sheet again. He scored the highest goal scorer for last season, 18 goals in the NPFL. He scored the equalizing goal, and then John scored the winning goal for Nasarawa United. But what I'm trying to point out is that Rangers now, in 2 consecutive games away from home, they picked up a point, but they scored goals. They scored 3 goals. Yeah. So that's. I mean, I would like to see from that angle.
Yeah, right, that's some people. Okay, that's something to take away from. Yes. That's a positive aspect of the game for Rangers, yes. And especially for this last game, they lost to Nasarawa United. We've seen some clip of the supposed penalty that was,
I was getting to that. The sketchy officiating in 3 major games this past week.
So you would say that all things being equal, Rangers would have gotten a point from that game yesterday, but it went the way it went. So we'll take the positive that this team is building. This team, at least they're scoring goals. It's not like last season when we were complaining that Rangers were not scoring goals. They were playing well, but the goals were not coming. But this time, they're scoring goals. They're scoring, even though they are conceding. Probably a little more work on the defense. Could try to shed the team away from conceding more. But they've scored I think they've scored 8 goals and they've conceded 7. They are just in +1 goal difference. But it is what it is. It's just a gradual process, and before you know it, a very formidable team will be beat. I've seen them play. I saw them at the Cathedral at the Oriental Derby, and they were quite impressive. I think it's just a matter of time, and then this team synergy will set in, and we'll see a better Rangers.
Yeah, we hope to see a better Rangers, but talking about better Rangers with better performance. But we also have to point out that some other teams played and they didn't have the best of results from their own perspective, and also they didn't have the best of behaviors. Because you're looking at Kano Pillars, same as Sugida. They got into their game, hosted Shooting Stars of Ibadan.
Yeah.
They, they scored first and then they pressed on. They felt that they should have had a penalty. It was waved off. The referee intervened, and then to the anger and ire of the Kano fans, they were not able to consolidate that game, only for Shooting Stars to score late in the game. Past around 4th minute of stoppage time or thereabouts, they scored. Yeah. And they just couldn't control themselves. I'm not holding brief for them, but the passions were piped up, the ultras, because normally whenever violence ensues from from any team is usually the ultras, the highly passionate fans that just got there. And they went to the dressing room. So that's even a testament to the lack of security. And the fact that the Kano Pillars have not been able to curb the hooliganism that's been displayed by many of their fans over the years. It's been a problem of late, and why it's resurfacing is older. Yes, they've been penalized. We'll talk about that in a bit. But you know,
but the thing is, Sisi, it worries me a lot.
Yes.
Do you know why? Because when we talk about fans getting involved in football, where we get to see more fans in the NPFL, it is in the northern part of the country, and it still bothers me that a region that has the most number of fans still involved in issues like this. We should grow past this stage. Remember, I think 3 seasons ago or thereabouts, this same Kano Pillars, this same issue, and at the end of the day, because of the 3 points and 3 goals deducted, they were relegated. And up till now, they haven't learned. If you're angry, if you feel like you've been undone, you have a different way of, registering your displeasure. You don't have to invade to the point to go to the dressing room, and that is because of the lack of maximum security. Because of lack of maximum security that has, made the fans, they are free to enter anywhere, they have access to different aspects of the stadium. Normally there are no crossbars for stadium where these fans are not permitted to go this way, but it is what it is, and they have been sanctioned. What would these sanctions do? For me, I think a stiffer measure has to be put in place.
We will talk about that in a bit right now. We'll just give you a list of the sanctions and do this very, very quickly. Now, officially, Kano Pillars have the chairman, that's the CEO of Kano Pillars, chairman himself, Ahmed Musa, who's also playing for them. He has taken responsibility for what happened and has owned up. And Kano Pillars have been fined 9.5 million naira for the violence in the clash against Shooting Stars. And the club has been deducted 3 points and 3 goals. So the Sani Abacha Stadium has been closed indefinitely to fans for a minimum of 10 home games pending an appeal. So they have been banished to Katsina State for the rest of their home games, 10 home games. Whether it's stiff or not, we'll talk about that. But we'll go on a very short break. When we return, we'll address 1 or 2 issues concerning this. Stick around, don't touch that dial. This is still the AFIA Sports Review Sport on AFIA TV, and we'll be back in the jiffy. Stay tuned. To the AFIA Sports Review Spot on AFIA TV. Frequencies still remain the same: channel 254 DSTV, channel 748 Free TV, and channel 17 Go TV. Welcome back, guys. This is still CC the Rabbi himself, and of course, I'm here with Queen Chioma Chigeze. We've been talking sports for a while now, and then we want to go straight to what many Nigerians have been waiting for patiently. Tomorrow, I don't mind giving that sound effect. Tomorrow is the D-Day. 5 p.m. the FIFA World Cup qualifiers, the final match, day 10, Group C, where Nigeria's fate will be decided. Of course, there's going to be a game, just one game in Group C today, and that's between the Crocodiles of Lesotho and the Warriors of Zimbabwe. Both are down and out. They're out, so there's no point getting them involved in the discussion. But tomorrow, we're going to have by 5 p.m. 2 major games. The other games that are there, not particularly are concerned. We as Nigerians have our eyes focused on what's going down in the Gospel Akpabio International Stadium, Uyo, and then also in South Africa, where Bafana will be hosting the Amavubi of Rwanda. They'll be hosting them, the Wasps of Rwanda. And then the Super Eagles of Nigeria will be playing host to the Cheetahs of Benin Republic. Now, for those who don't understand the dynamics of what's involved there, Nigeria, in Group C, that's Benin Republic are top on the log with 17 points. 17 points. They have scored, I think that's 12 goals and considered 7 goals. So they have a +5 goal difference. Yeah. Then second on the log, you have South Africa who have 16 points. Their goal difference is immaterial right now because that's the 15 points, not 16 points. 15 points. So they are 2 points off the pace. While Nigeria are just a point behind Bafana of South Africa. Now look at the permutations. For Nigeria to qualify for the World Cup, they need not only to beat Benin Republic, but let Rwanda do them a favor. And how? All Rwanda has to do is prevent South Africa from winning. So a win or a draw for Rwanda will be enough to send Nigeria through to the United States of America, Canada, and Mexico next year, 2026, provided Nigeria win the Cheetahs of Benin Republic by either 1-0 or by 2 clear goals should Benin score. The reason being that Nigeria have a +3 goal difference. Nigeria have scored 11 goals and considered 8. And then, like I said, Benin Republic have scored 12 goals and considered 7. So if Nigeria win Benin Republic 1-0, for instance, and then the other results go their way, that is assuming South Africa gets a draw. That means the best South Africa will have is 16 points. So Nigeria and Benin will be tied on 17 points. And what that means is that they will have not only the same number of games played, not only the same number of games won, not only the same number of games drawn, not only the same number of games lost, but they'll also have the same number of goals scored. That is 12 goals scored and same number considered, 8 goals conceded. So that will now go down to head-to-head. Head-to-head, and head-to-head is what will push Nigeria through. Now, considering the fact that Nigeria and Rwanda, because that main game now, there's even another dynamic. I don't want to get into that. The issue of that's what Eritrea's withdrawal did, which puts Nigeria in a group. But I just want to talk about this basic. Let's leave that one. Let's not get our hopes up too much, first of all. But let's talk about what we need to do. Now, because Nigeria's head-to-head with Rwanda, against Rwanda, is superior to Benin's head-to-head with the same Rwanda, because Benin picked 4 points from Rwanda. Nigeria picked 6, maximum points from Rwanda. So what that means is that if everything finishes even Stevens with a 1-0 win for Nigeria and South Africa don't go beyond 1 point, that means Nigeria will qualify. But for Nigeria to have a better chance of qualifying, assuming the other results go well, we need to score goals and make sure that it's by 2 clear goals. Nigerians, anyway, it's not surprised that one of the greatest mathematicians that the world has ever known, Chike Obi, or Professor Chike Obi of Blessed Memory, was from Nigeria. Because mathematics is in our blood. Must we always do this calculation every time?
Exactly what I wanted to ask you right now. Like, is it just that we should just prepare whenever we hear qualifiers, whether AFCON or World Cup? Whenever we hear male competition, we should just go and buy calculator and
You had to say that. You just had to say that male competition.
But no, that is what it is. That is what it is. We just have to buy a calculator.
The straight bullet has landed. No problem. I accept it. On behalf of all our males, I accept the straight bullet.
But it's unfortunate, It's quite unfortunate. And sincerely, it's a dicey situation. It's a very, very unfair situation to be in as a Nigerian right now, because one part of you, if you want to tell yourself the truth, you tell yourself that Nigeria does not deserve to qualify to the World Cup. And then on the other side, because we're a passionate Nigerian that loves football and all, you want to see Nigeria at the World Cup. But the truth is, we have not done anything to merit going to the World Cup. Going from the administrative level down to the players. I mean, look at what happened against Lesotho. In a game where we're looking for ways to score more goals, to have maximum goal difference, you're committing certain blunders that schoolboy's error that it's on, how will I put it? It's unheard of. Like, it shows lack of seriousness from even the players themselves and the NFF that are involved. The game tomorrow is a very difficult one, because first of all, are we going to beat Benin Republic? Don't forget, it is Genero that is in charge of Benin Republic. He himself wants to. I personally feel like the reason why Benin Republic employed him is because they've looked at his trajectory with the Super Eagles.
Yes.
He's been able to qualify them for competitions with games to spare, and they feel like, oh, okay, this man can actually help us qualify for these competitions. So they brought him, and before time, and he has done so well so far with the players. So he wants to cement this to get in ahead of Nigeria. Same for South Africa. If all of these discussions wouldn't have been heard, if South Africa didn't make the mistake of fielding an ineligible player for their game, I think against the same Lesotho.
Yes.
So if they hadn't done that, by now South Africa would have been on the list of qualified African countries. But the way it is, 17, 15, 14 for a group that, for me, even without a coach, the captain of the side, with his experience and exposure, talking about Truth Ekong, should just gather his boys. Guy, may we go fight, may we go play this game against Lesotho and flog them well. See what the likes of Norway does to smaller teams when they meet them. They tell you this is your place, stay here. Portugal catch you, they beat you well. Same for bigger France, Spain. But when we come here, we're struggling to defeat 1 goal to nothing, 2 goals to 1 against Lesotho, against Rwanda, against the likes of Guinea-Bissau. And, you know, funny countries that when Nigeria started making wave in global football, they were still, you know, trying to get their fittings. But it is what it is. And tomorrow, South Africa is playing at home. Can Rwanda? I know there's some people who say, oh, but they struggled against Zimbabwe. But can Rwanda hold South Africa down at home?
We'll just have to keep our fingers crossed. It will be difficult, but not impossible.
But one thing I can tell you now is that I know a lot of Nigerians, I know a lot of my friends that are going to be on fasting tomorrow for Nigeria to qualify.
Nigerians, they got
That's one thing that has been sounding in my ears. God will help us, God will help us. God, we are praying. I say,
Well, in the words of Benjamin Franklin, heaven helps those who help themselves. Let's help ourselves for once. Anyway, but my concern right now is that the banter drums are going to be loud because some teams have qualified, and we have 22 teams that have qualified for the FIFA World Cup. We'll give you some other fixtures for today, but 22 teams have officially qualified for the FIFA World Cup. And we have, of course, the first part of those teams. We have the home teams. First of all, the home team, the host teams, the host nations, that the United States of America, Canada, and Mexico have qualified for the World Cup. Then we also have Japan, who have qualified. Australia have qualified. Iran have qualified also. Then you're looking at Argentina, naturally they've qualified. You look at South Korea, they have qualified. You look at I think that should be, I'm trying to remember this team. I'll verify that. But Iraq have qualified. Have qualified.
Yes.
You look at Brazil. I mean, if they don't qualify, who else will qualify? Algeria have qualified. Uruguay have qualified. Colombia have qualified. Ecuador have qualified. You just see Turkey have qualified. And there are other teams that are going to qualify. But the one I'm saving some of the heartbreaking ones for last. Norway just qualified. Erling Haaland, of course, almost single-handedly dragged Norway.
In 2 games, he scored about 11 goals.
In 2 games, he alone scored 8 goals in 2 games. No, he scored 5 goals in that hat-trick. 5 goals against, I think it was San Marino or so. Then he scored 3 goals against 5-0 win.
Over Israel.
Yeah, over Israel. So, but Ghana have qualified. I was waiting for that. Our Challenge brothers have qualified for the World Cup. And if, by mistake, South Africa will win Rwanda tomorrow, this globe, and social media and even social media will not be enough for Nigerians. Please, I beseech you by the message of God. And let me say this right now. Eric Sekuchel, let me start by begging you this one. Please. You see, Ademola Lookman, let him stay. Let him just go and stay in Atalanta. Now, why? Not because I don't love him. I love him so much. But he shouldn't be anywhere near that team. Why? Because he's ineligible.
I'm telling you.
Don't make the mistake of fielding him. And before the Tebo Mukwane situation will come up again. And that will just cause wahala for Nigeria. So that's what I'm trying to point out now. These are teams that have qualified, and
the heartbreaking one is Ghana, Sisi. You know why it's heartbreaking for me?
What?
I remember sometime last year when these qualifiers actually started, Ghana were shambolic. The same way Nigeria started so poorly and badly. It was the same way Ghana started. I remember their Minister of Sports coming into the dressing room after one of their games. I think they lost 1 goal to nothing, or they drew that game. And he lashed at those players. In fact, he told them how they were incompetent and they were not fit enough to play for the Ghanaian national team. In fact, he even pointed out Mohamed Kudus, who was in West Ham at the time, before moving to Tottenham Hotspur right now. And then all of a sudden, these players went back, recouped themselves, and boom, they are at the World Cup. You know what I told somebody today? I said, we're not hearing anything yet. It's because Ghana don't want to jump go ahead of themselves, like Cameroon did at the AFCON, releasing a song, and at the end of the day, the table turned around. Ghana want to keep quiet and wait and see what happens tomorrow.
Until 7 p.m. tomorrow.
Until 7 p.m. tomorrow. If Nigeria don't qualify, every Nigerian on social media should just go away. Just leave the space for Ghana and South Africa in case South Africa qualify. But if Ghana and maybe Benin qualify from our own angle, then we can face them.
It's still there now. It's a Western African thing now. It's not semi-border that's separating us. The same thing. Banters, drums, roll. Anyway, all the same, we can only hope for the best. Trust God that things are going to fall in the favor of Nigeria. We'll go on a very short break. When we return, we'll give you more information about it's still World Cup related, but you talk about teams that are growing leaps and bounds and managers that are making their debuts and trying to move on to pastures new and then make a name for themselves. There have been many managers who have been appointed to new clubs. One of them is one that is well known from his days in the English Premier League. He has a new club right now and it's his first major managerial role. We will give you that in a bit when we return. Plus the NBA preseason fixtures. So make sure you don't touch that dial. We'll be right back in a jiffy. Welcome back to the final leg of the AFIA Sports Review Sport on AFIA TV. Frequencies still remain the same: channel 254 DSTV, channel 748 Free TV, and channel 17 Go TV. Welcome, guys. Still CC the Rabbi here, and with Queen Chikeze Choma here too. And we are going straight to the world of managerial merry-go-rounds. And right now, the English Championship-based side have decided to take a chance on a young manager who has not had prior experience with senior teams. Yes, he just came off the back of two games with Norwich City, and he won one of those games and lost the other. So he has a 50% record with Norwich. But they decided that they've seen enough from his ability to make him the permanent manager of Luton Town, the Hatters. I'm talking about none other than Jack Wilshere, the former Arsenal player, former England international, who injuries really dealt with, but was very technical. I remember vividly that game in the year 2011 where they played against Arsenal, played against Barcelona, where you had a Xavi, an Iniesta, a Busquets, and in that midfield. Yet he was one that bossed the midfield. Now that was Jack Wilshere at his best and giving you vibes of what could have been. But clearly he retired early as a player, and now he's taking on a managerial appointment. And this is somebody who really has set many records, and then also became a very wonderful, popular figure in the Arsenal dressing room, not just as a player, but with the youth team, because he was part of the Arsenal youth setup. It was a youth academy, became a youth coach, a reserve coach there, and moved on. Even after he had his spells with West Ham United, with Bournemouth before then, and all. But Jack Wilshere, I don't know. I've noticed that the best managers in world football tend to be midfielders, and he was a midfielder, a playmaker.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What do you think about his career? Just in a few seconds, what do you think about his career now as a manager?
I think he's done well for himself. I think along for some time now he equipped himself not just with the theoretical aspect of coaching. He has also done some practical aspect with the teams that he has gotten involved with in the past, the likes of Norwich, which is the last stint before going to Luton Town. And the case of what's his name now, Vincent Kompany, has actually taught me that most times it is not about the number of years, right, that it defines whether you're going to be a good coach or not. It is about intensity. And I feel like with what he did in his playing days, playmakers they understand the game as players. And I think he will instill the same mentality in his players now as a coach. Okay,
wonderful. Wish Jack Wilshere all the best. And of course, talking about the best, one of the best leagues in terms of basketball. Now we're moving to basketball, and that's the NBA, the umbrella body of all basketball bodies generally, although they are domiciled in the United States of America. The NBA season will start very soon, but the preseason has kicked off, and we've had some wonderful results. The Boston Celtics beat the Cleveland Cavaliers by 138 points to 107. Then Chicago Bulls beat the Milwaukee Bucks by 120. Rather, they lost to Milwaukee Bucks by 121 to 127 points. Then the Denver Nuggets were triumphant over the Clippers. That's the Los Angeles Clippers, 102 points to 94 points. Then LA Lakers, the Lakers themselves beat No, the Warriors, the Warriors rather, 126 to 116. Then tonight by 11 p.m. the Atlanta Hawks will come up against a Miami Heat. And right now, before we feel the heat, we're going to have to sign out. Thank you very much, Queen. It's been a wonderful time having you here.
Yeah, it's great to always do this with you.
All right, thank you very much, guys. Everybody who's there, the floor managers, the producers, MCR, PCR, everybody who's been involved in making this show a success. We thank you. We'll do this again on Thursday during the Banter Box. Make sure you're here by 5 p.m. on AFIA TV. Till then, stay blessed. I'm Sisi the Rabbi, signing out.